So how long does a typical D&D gaming session last? What's the goal? What are we looking to accomplish? And based on the time that we have to play, does that affect the adventure module that you want to run, or possibly in writing your own campaign? What aspect do we look at? An average D&D gaming session. This is a little bit hard to nail down because so much depends on the medium, so much depends on the number of players, and the time that you have. Is this gaming at the table once a week, every other week? Is this a one-off type adventure? But I think for the most part, if I had to look and examine the different adventures that I've run over the years, at my own tabletop, putting conventions and special events that I've run separate, that's a separate type of adventure, I'd say the average gaming session lasts about 4 hours. 4 hours or so, 4 to 5 hours. There have been times where I played D&D all day. We had one group for about 5 months. We were playing every Saturday from 8 in the morning to like 8 or 9 at night. And it was fantastic because we had an epic campaign that ended with literally an epic dragon showdown. And if you've been following my vlogs here on my D&D channel, you know I love dragons. At some point, Fritz is going to put you in a dungeon. There's going to be dragons. And if we've been playing D&D for like real time 5-6 months, you're level 16, it's going to come down to winner take all. Winners take all in the party. Pushing that out, playing that out. But an average session, I'd say, is about 4 hours. What we pack into that session is now going to determine the number of players. I want every player at my table to have a vision, to have a voice, to play their character, to get in character, to contribute to the story. I mean, every player has unique talents. We all have unique talents of creativity that we bring to the game. I want to make sure there's ample time for every player to do that and express themselves and literally build this story. So if we're playing with, my average table is about 7 or 8 players these days, that is a game that plays a little slower than the average classic D&D 4 to 5 player party. The times that I've played games with 10 players, this is an example like we've got the regular crew, 7 to 8 players. Someone's out of town or a friend comes by and they can only play for 2 or 3 sessions. You know what? Roll up a character, jump in. I mean, everyone has... my table is always open. Everyone always has a place at my table. So games that have gotten bigger, they slow down a little bit. There's also the mechanics of combat. And for me, this is the biggest consideration in choosing an adventure to run and trying to figure out how much of the adventure blocks we're going to make it through. In D&D, combat is what slows down the game. There's interaction with NPCs. There's going to be skill checks. There's going to be exploration. There's going to be back and forth. I mean, all the describing what the players are doing, what they're seeing, all that normal DM Dungeon Master stuff. But when we get to combat, that elevates it because now the mechanics of D&D, the base mechanics, they go into this flow chart. Roll for initiative. Pick your attack. Make your attack. Determine damage. It's a back and forth equation between the players and the DM. That just takes a little bit of time. And then added on to that is the fact that party death is on the line. Now, characters can die through traps. They can die through ambushes. They can die through magical means. But most character death, 87% of all character death in D&D, is based on the encounter, getting slammed down by the monsters. So it's only natural that the players play a little slower. They have a little bit more collaboration. They look through spells to cast and discuss things over. I don't put on any type of timer when there's combat. I mean, if it's your turn for initiative, I want you to take the action you want to take. I want you to own that action. You are going to own that action. So it slows down a little bit. Adventures that have a lot of encounters to them, or combat adventures, the classic D&D 4.0 adventures. And I liked D&D 4.0. I've been on record saying I like it. I have a number of friends that just flat out refuse, even to this day, to try it. I enjoy it as an addition, and I still do, as much as 3.5 and 3.x, 3.0. But encounters that are heavy combat, that's going to be much, much slower. So if I'm looking at part of the adventure, for a gaming session and it's got 4 encounters, I need to be realistic. We're probably not going to make it through those 4 encounters because we've got the role play, we've got the slow play, we've got the decision making. It's probably only going to be 2. I'll prepare for 4, but I'm going to keep an eye on the clock and make sure that if we end after the second encounter and we don't have enough time to do another one, then, that's a good point to end. We'll fill it in with a little something else. We'll figure out what to do. That, for me, is the biggest question of how long a D&D session takes. How many encounters are in the adventure? What's the size of your party? Making sure everyone has that vision and voice to contribute. And how often are you meeting? Is it constantly once a week? Is it every other week? Is it more free-flowing? What's the volume? What's the volume of D&D that we can get through?